Sometimes I don't think that we appreciate nature enough, how brilliant she is and what a marvel she indeed is. I mean, when you look at this, Mother Nature can turn this into this. When you think about it, the life cycle of insects and the various stages of that life cycle, it really is amazing how one thing can turn into another. Like from an egg, a young caterpillar comes out. That caterpillar grows and then it pupates and becomes something much akin to the likes of this Lime Hawk-moth pupa here. And everything gets broken down, and then over the course of the winter and the early spring, everything gets put back together again, but put back in a different order with bits added. Bits like wings. This, of course, is the fabulous Lime Hawk-moth, and this male Lime Hawk-moth you've seen before, but you've seen it in this form because a couple of months ago, I think it might have been February, I found 2 chrysalises of Lime Hawk-moth in the cemetery at Market Warsaw. I brought them home, and here we are a couple of months later. Pupa's been kept outside for emergence, and then yesterday, when I got back from wherever I'd been, this chap was on the side of the cage. It emerged sometime just after midday, and the afternoon was always typically a time when Lime Hawk-moths emerged. And in the early 1980s and late 70s, if I wanted to try and find a Lime Hawk-moth, I would do it when I was on my paper round, my evening paper round. Fortunately, my paper round coincided with numerous avenues and roads that were lined with lime trees, and quite often I could find a Lime Hawk-moth freshly emerged low down on the trunk of one of those trees. And it's the most amazing thing to find. It's the most beautiful moth, and if you're just starting out in your moth trapping journey or dipping your feet into it tentatively, and you're trapping from the confines of your garden, whether it be an urban garden or a suburban garden, chances are that this little chap here will be the very first one that you see. It'll be the first hawk moth that you see. And if you do have an interest in moth trapping, it will always be the hawk moths, the big moths, that attract you and catch your attention. And while the Lime Hawk-moth here isn't the largest we have in the UK by any stretch of the imagination, it is probably the most beautiful. The most beautiful anyway, without being gaudy. If you like your pinks, then your small and your large elephant hawk-moths are the thing. If you like your much larger hawk-moths, then the death's head hawk-moth and the convolvulus hawk-moth and the privet hawk-moth are probably also your own thing. But if you want a more subdued and subtle yet beautiful hawk-moth, this chap fits the bill absolutely brilliantly. What a thing.